Yeah, I mean, in a way, that's kind of it sounds easy to answer in some ways, but it's sort of like from a mystical perspective, it gets kind of, paradoxical and messy. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the basic foundation of reality is a ground of consciousness, or at least something that, when I say consciousness, I don't mean anything that is comparable to, the workings of the ordinary kind of human mind, at that level. It's something far vaster, that has nothing to do with the concepts of space, time, human personalities. It's very much transcendent, and so we can't really capture it with words particularly well because it transcends all of that stuff. So we don't have concepts for it. I mean, we have concepts for it, but they fail to approach the reality. That's why, the Taoists say things like, the way that the Tao that can be spoken is not the Tao, and that kind of thing. Like, you can't say what it is because you're reducing it and you're bastardizing it into something that it's not. So the foundation for me is a foundation of infinite consciousness, and from there it's essentially a matter of that consciousness projecting, kind of like, if you like, imagined realities or dream realities, through an omniversal kind of a setup. So multiple densities, parallel universes. I mean, you name it. I mean, there's no real limits within the container of infinity. So I don't know if that answers your question, at least partly, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still parsing all of this out myself. And, there's many trains of thought. For me, the thing that is most fundamental is the fact that consciousness seems to be fundamental to the nature of reality. And I think that's the largest paradigm that we're facing now in this age, right? And you talk about that in your book. You kind of start to expose a lot of this scientism, from its materialist background. And as confident as modern science is in the nature of reality, you outline that reality is actually on way shakier foundations than they would like us to believe. So yeah, maybe you could comment on that in that kind of emerging new view of science and reality.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we're going now. I mean, like, quantum mechanics kind of destroyed materialism. And that's a kind of awkward fact for people who like to, follow the science, because it's patently obvious that materialists are ignoring the science, and living, in willful ignorance, because there is no material reality. I mean, if you look at the quantum kind of field, it's like, well, what is the basis? What's the foundation? And they have to talk about, if they want to avoid consciousness, they have to still talk about, well, there's this kind of like soup of wave potentialities and wave probabilities, and it's all the information kind of just exists together, in superposition, and it's not until a measurement, aka an observation of some sort, is made, that then we, quote, collapse that quantum wave reality into something that we recognize as, our tangible, familiar kind of reality. So we're kind of recovering from, millennia, potentially, I would say, millennia of amnesia and forgetting of the basic foundations of what reality is and who we are with that, because it's the same thing. When people ask what is reality, and what is consciousness, the answer is, the same. Like, consciousness is reality. It's the bedrock of reality, and reality is consciousness. Everything else beyond that is just kind of like the dream world of temporary, temporal manifestations that come and go.